Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I decided to get out of the house after making that Laker video rather. It's not quite as cold as I thought it was. It was freezing in my room. I was getting nothing but wind chill. But I guess it's because I left the window open all night and it got as low as 49 degrees last night, so I thought it was cold out here, but it's pretty warm. Not too warm though, and I got my backpack with me, so I have to take off my sweater. It won't be a problem. Put it in the backpack, and I got a black shirt under there. But yeah, man, I just wanted to get out. I didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do. For some reason, I'm a little hungry, to be honest with you, but I just feel very blessed, man. I spoke with my uncle this morning, gave him a heads up of what was going on. They were on their way to getting my grandfather back from an appointment, so I was only vaguely able to speak with him. I'll speak with him at some point today, but you know, they know what it is. It's the same old crap, man. I contacted the lady from GR again. Hopefully she gives me a call back. I've already left 3 messages with her this week. I don't even know if that's the right number for her. Who knows? But all the information they're saying they need, they have. I don't know if they want me to send in a form that has it so that you request that information. They're requesting the information as a form that it seems like they want me to send. But the information that they're asking for, I submitted online, and it gives you on the form, it says that you can submit that information online. So it's like, if you need me to send you something hard paper via the mail, then tell me that in so many words so that I can get that to you, because I'm not getting nobody calling me back telling me what I need to do. So it's like, this process is taking too long, and I'm waiting for somebody to at least give me some direction so that what I think needs to be done can be confirmed, or what I don't think needs to be done can be, confirmed, whatever that is. So it's like, they make the rigmarole so much harder for people, man. If you got a paper that you want me to send in that's essentially telling you that you need information, or that you want me to give you information that you already have, should not that form not need to be sent in? Everything that you're asking for can be submitted to you via the internet, and you have it. What the hell is the form for? Other than to make it difficult for people, just more difficult, so that you can keep from having to send us the money. So, when you look at what they're doing with our tax money and all the stuff that we're talking about that we see going on with this genocide, then you understand who you're dealing with and why they make things hard on people like myself. It's just one small branch from a big, huge tree. That's all it is. It's the same old evil. Same old evil. So, yeah, I'm blessed, man. I just want to get out the house. Thankful I was able to speak to my uncle. He was real graceful in regards to what needs to be done. I think they're showing a lot of solidarity for my circumstance. I know they're tired of this. I'm tired of this. My mental health is fine right now. Maybe I can work. Problem is with working is it completely pulls me away from the possibility of getting SSI. Because from what I understand, according to the lawyer, if I work at any time in this process, it will automatically disqualify me from SSI. That's how screwed up this is. So even if I felt good enough to work, I'd better keep that job for the rest of eternity, because at the end of the day, what I ultimately need for my mental health, which is what I really do need, I would no longer be able to prove, because this is what they need me to prove, that I cannot work. But you cannot. That's the point. So it's like, if I think I can, you're like, I feel good enough to go right now, but I have this problem 3 months from now, that'll be too much. Now it's like, well, you worked, right? Okay, then it's like, well, fam, you're forcing me to have to. It's not about me feeling good enough to, even if I can't. It's either that or lay down and starve. So I guess I have to find a way. Maybe you want me to rob somebody? Like, is that the plan? Maybe keep from having to do what it is I cannot do. Maybe I do something illegal. Like, Zionist energy, baby. Same people are killing babies in the nighttime and terrorizing them, putting pee on the walls where they sleep. This is who's doing this to me. I don't separate the two because I don't have to. I don't have to separate the two. For what? When you know that it's your government who's sanctioning this nonsense. They're using your tax money to do it, so of course the tactics they use on their own people force them into working, and when they don't have the mental capacity to do so, it's going to be equated to the same thing. They're rigging the stock market, same thing. Same idiots I'm going up against with AMC, GME situation, same people. It's all Zionists, same old nonsense. I'm not separating the two because I know that they don't have to. I know that it is them. It ain't even a question. It's like I was telling you on the previous video. BlackRock, $33 billion donated to Israel. BlackRock, the owner of BlackRock, his wife is the head of UNICEF. I don't have to separate the two. BlackRock owns all of the stocks, damn near everything. There's no separation. It is what it is. It's gonna sound crazy to a lot of people, but when you start knowing it's only like 7, 8 people at the top, then you understand it's the same people doing everything. There's only like 7, 8 of them. They own every damn thing. So at this point, I'm like, all right, fine. But don't expect for this brain to separate the nonsense that I'm seeing in one area from the nonsense I'm seeing in another area when I know it connects to the same brain. I know it does. It's all evil, man. It's all just evil. So we just keep pushing forward. I got the Holy Spirit with me. He guides me to come out the house and walk. Do whatever needs to be done in the daytime. I do it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, my spirit is just exhausted at all the evil that I'm seeing. Exhausted from all of the nonsense that's being done to people all over the world. And I'm no longer in a space where I want to hold my tongue in regards to what it is I'm seeing and feeling. No. They're doing this, they're doing that, and they need to be held accountable for both. The reason why the squeeze ain't happening is because the baby killers are doing the same thing in different areas, applying the same damn tactics in a different way. Non-creative demons. They ain't creative. They do this everything out of the same playbook. Same thing they did to the slaves, they're doing to the Palestinians. It's out of the same playbook. Just letting you know. And that's what it really comes down to. It's out of the same playbook. And we're going to either act like we don't know this and move in a direction that makes us look as if we're crazy, as if we're not aware of what it is they're doing, or we can push ourselves in a position that allows us to speak and pray against that evil and live our lives accordingly. And that is what we're doing. Living our lives accordingly. Understanding that the evil that they do is exactly that. Their evil doings. And you pray against it just like I did this morning and last night. Because anything else is not operating properly. It's not arming yourself against their evil correctly. You got to pray that stuff out of your life. You got to recognize it as spiritual demonic energy, just like you would recognize anything else that's coming against you spiritually as demonic energy. Just because it's done by human beings don't mean it's not controlled by the same entity. It is. That's what I've come to surmise. And we've talked about that on this channel many times. Whether it's it coming in human form, circumstantial form, whether it be an environmental evil that's coming down to try to distract you from your circumstance or try to make it so that you can't get where you're going. It's all the same devil. And then you're going to defeat it the same way, through prayer. That's exactly how you're going to defeat it. So yeah, that's what I want to say, man. Feels good to be out. Like I said, I like the hour change because it gives you more daytime. Trying to maintain my sanity to whatever degree I'm allowed to. Hopefully the Holy Spirit gives me the strength to continue to move in the direction that works for me. Allows me to do what it is I need to do to use my voice in the right way. I've been fighting laziness for the last couple of days in my own way, you know, not really feeling like doing certain things that need to be done. But they get done anyway, man. We just keep pushing forward. And so today I feel a lot more strong in that way. I asked for prayer to help me call my uncle. I asked for prayer to help me get through, whatever difficulties I got going on, and I did it all. I got it done, and I just thank God for that. I didn't feel like shaving my head. He gave me the strength to do that. Little stuff sometimes can feel like big stuff when you're worn down, like I feel like I am. But the perseverance aspect of my prayer is the one that I'm leaning on the most. It's like, give me the ability to persevere, to have the resilience is the word. Resilience is the word. For as tired as I feel is as strong as I want to be. For as exhausted and worn down as I feel is as much resilience as I want to display. Because I know from where my strength comes from, and that comes from God. So if I got to do this or go through that, or if it gets a lot better or a lot worse, I want to have the right requisite amount of resilience to face the day. Dealing with hard times and asking for resilience for that is one thing. Asking for the ability to stay in check when everything's going right is entirely another, and it's just important. Like, Lord, if I find a bag of money right now, can you please keep me from turning into an evil Zionist mindset? If I suddenly find I'm a billionaire, and now it comes down to whether or not I let somebody live properly or I pay a little more taxes, can you please give me the mindset to give the taxes necessary so that I'm not turning into a devil like a lot of these billionaires? Because it really does come down to a lifestyle thing. Once you get nestled into the comfort of being fat and happy with a certain lifestyle, a lot of these people, they're not praying the prayers necessary to make them good enough of human beings going forward. They're going to always be good human beings when they're in this level, because you have to be. You're going to have to consider being considerate. You're going to have to consider sharing, because all of that is necessary when you can't afford security, when you can't afford health care, when you can't afford different things. It keeps you not only in a position to respect those things from a humble standpoint, but it keeps you in a perspective of understanding you got to display some of this to stay alive. If you don't feed the wolves, if you don't do this and that, you could be vulnerable to whatever's coming your way. There's a lot of different things that could harm a poor person that they're going to respect off of the strength of the fact that they're poor. They have to survive. Once you're rich, if I'm $100 million in, bro, I don't have to be a good human being. Because if you try coming after me, I'm going to wipe you out. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. If you try doing this, and I'm going to deprave you from on high. You ain't never going to touch me. I'm going to be moving around too fast. That type of stuff will make a man weak. That type of stuff will make you turn into the devil that ultimately ends up making things worse for others. And that's not a prayer that many people have to pray, because it doesn't affect it. But see, I'm telling you, man, you end up getting the wrath of the Lord after that. And you don't want that everlasting wrath. You don't want that on your back just because you've been privileged with a great path through life that gives you a lot of luxury. You don't want that. You got to pray prayers to get that off of you. Just like I got to pray prayers to give me the resilience to get through these hard times, you got to pray prayers to get you the resilience to get through that soft life, to not be a horrible human being throughout that soft-ass life you're living. Because whether you see it as a threat to your immortal soul or not, it is a threat to your immortal soul. And you're supposed to be trying to enjoy your life. The moment you die, you got a lot of problems coming your way that are going to last a lot longer than your life. Just because you didn't care to be a decent human being when you didn't necessarily have to. It's bad math. You ain't going to live that long. Some of y'all billionaires only got like 10 more years, 20 more years, and then you got to deal with the rest of everything that comes with that. You don't want to be a horrible human being, because now God going to hit you with that wrath that go forever and ever and ever. And that wrath is not worth your eternity. It's not worth it. The stuff that you do to cause that wrath ain't worth the eternity that's coming your way. And when you've been proving God on this level, I've been proving my God. God is real. I ain't gotta ask or wonder or maybe, let me think. None of that. He's proven himself in a million different ways based on the fact that I'm in this situation here. So it's like, yo, I can tell you guys, you need to pray those prayers. You need to want to be a good human being when life is soft for you. When you're rich as hell and you can protect yourself from all kinds of bodily harm and protect yourself from all different types of stuff, that don't mean you're not going to get cancer. That don't mean you ain't going to have blood disease or something. Something can come and get you from the inside out. And then you have to face the reality of the fact that you may have put others through something that you never should have. And then you start suffering those ills once you come to realize that God take you up off the earth, and then you got to deal with all the nonsense that come with that. First shall be last, last shall be first. You know how hard your afterlife gonna be? While y'all was sitting up being 1%er, black rock on this, that, and the third, man, you ain't gonna have nothing when you go. You ain't gonna have nothing. You're gonna be sitting there somewhere in a dark, cold corner waiting for God to finally get to you. Because you had everything first over here, so you definitely gonna have everything last over there. A lot of y'all don't believe that, and that's gonna be to your detriment. It's in your best interest to believe that. That's a tough thing about it. It's in your best interest to believe that, so you can get through some of this stuff that's coming your way, so you can appeal to a God that will allow you some faith, some favor in those circumstances. Like, God, I was rich as hell, man, on earth. Can you please make it so that I'm not peeling my skin off one layer at a time in my afterlife for the rest of my life because of what I allowed to happen while I was wealthy? You don't want to have to deal with that type of hell, man. It ain't worth it. Nah. And that's what I'm saying to you. It ain't worth it. You got to get to a point in your life where you know that you got a chance at a decent afterlife. And if you don't believe in no afterlife, okay. But humor yourself just in case you're wrong. That's what I would tell most of y'all. It ain't like you got somebody coming to you saying, yo, this is confirmed. You got to either believe or don't believe. And what if you're wrong, fam? See, if I'm wrong, then it's just quiet, sleepy blackness. I lived a bad life and then I went down to my grave and nothing, period. That's a lot better of a risk to have believed and it be nothing than to have not believed and it's everlasting suffering. You just gotta look at it like that. For those who are teetering on the fence, a believer who thinks all of the greatest stuff about God that ultimately is mistaken and it really is just black nothingness in his grave, he ain't missing nothing. Black nothingness is just that. To have not existed is to have no perspective. There's no problem with having no perspective. You ain't missing nothing. You ain't is nothing. You ain't nothing. No problem. There's no suffering to do. There's no you to ill over. I never was afraid of black nothingness for my afterlife. The completion of this life being nothing is not a problem. What is a problem is the possibility of everlasting suffering. That's a problem. Of thinking that it's going to be black nothingness and doing whatever, only to find out that it is that everlasting suffering that comes from having indifference. You don't want to make that trade. That's a bad trade, friends. I'd rather be that believer mistaken and end up living black nothingness that doesn't hurt at all than the dude that didn't believe nothing ends up finding out that everything was as it was in the Bible and all that. You don't want to play like that. And that's what I've always understood. It's like, man, people don't want to believe in God. You can believe whatever you want. For those of us who've been putting forth that faith and have already been proven there's a God, we just know you're mistaken. And as we know you're mistaken, we know what you're running into. Now, for some reason, what we are thinking is mistaken, that's okay. We can live with black nothingness. But can you live with everlasting suffering? I don't think you want to live with everlasting suffering, friends. It ain't worth it, man. Give faith a try. I think it works. I keep telling people this. I think it works. I've seen enough to know that God is real, man. And a lot of y'all thinking it's okay to live indifferent or treat people poorly or do whatever the hell you want to do all the damn time. I promise you. When you find out that he exists and he didn't appreciate all that, then you got to start dealing with real life. Not this earthly life that ends after 90 years or whatever it's going to be. But the everlasting, damn, we're still going. Damn, we're still going. And the part about heaven they don't tell people about is that you keep watching people go in as you can't get in. That's what keeps happening. You keep seeing people walk in, living a happy life. Hey, bye. And they keep going in. Past you. That's hell in even of itself. It ain't got to be hot, hell, burning, all of that. Just to know that everybody's going in paradise past you. Past you. People you knew, people you left behind, kids of your kids, of your kids, of your kids, all passing your evil ass up. Nah, man, I ain't having none of that. If speaking against the evil in this world leads to my doom on this planet, or the black nothingness that could be my life, what difference do it make? I gave it a shot, it didn't work out. Now it's black nothingness. There's no consciousness for me to worry about. There's no consciousness for me to take back all the blowback or whatever the hell it is. Okay, I can live with that. I gave God a try, he didn't exist. My life got wasted. It's not like I get to think about my life being wasted in black nothingness. I don't think about that. There's no consciousness. See what I'm saying? A lot of people are worried about what they're going to miss. You will live your whole life and didn't try everything you wanted to try. And then what? You have no consciousness. If what you think is real, then you ain't missing nothing any damn way. I don't know why people can't comprehend that understanding. If you don't believe there's no afterlife, and you don't believe you need to sacrifice to make that afterlife any good, then what is it that you convince yourself you're going to miss? You ain't going to miss nothing. If you're mistaken and believe in a God and he ain't no God. If you believe there's no God, then what's the difference between believing in a God and then coming to that same black nothingness that you're so certain of? No difference. At least you could try to cover your backside if you happen to be mistaken. If you happen to got it wrong and there is an afterlife, at least you didn't do nothing to make that afterlife trash. But if you gave that effort and it turned out it was black nothingness, it's not like you missing anything when you get to that other side of it and realize whatever. Ain't no realize. That's what I'm trying to say to you. If a life like mine wasted his whole life believing in a God that did not exist, I will not spend a single second in my afterlife illing over the fact that I did that. No time will be spent saying, damn, I should have did whatever I wanted to do. Because it won't be a consciousness from which to do that. See what I'm trying to say? It don't cost you nothing to believe. Nothing at all. A lot of people are just worried about not experiencing what they want to experience. Fam, a lot of that stuff don't need to be experienced. A lot of that stuff will cut your life down short. You don't need to live that way. Look around. You know how many people you don't see? See, that's the thing. A lot of people looking around at stuff that they do see. What you don't see is a bunch of people who died early who would likely be enjoying their day just like you're enjoying yours, but they did a bunch of bullcrap they had no business doing. There's a lot of people that should be walking down the street right now. A whole lot. But they believed there was no God and they wanted to do whatever they wanted to do, and it was hopeful they wouldn't miss no experiences, and so they was going to get at everything they wouldn't get at in their ignorance, and they got cut down. And then they found out whether there was a black nothingness or not. But if you give God a try, you cover your bases, man. That's all I'm saying. You get to cover your bases. Now, if there is a God, you didn't adhere to him. You know what I'm saying? You gave him a shot. It worked out or it didn't work out. For those of us who pretend it ain't no God, if you happen to be mistaken, your margin for error don't exist. Your margin for error does not exist. So that's what I'm trying to say to people, man. I hope you took from this what you're supposed to, man. I know there's a very good argument for do whatever you want because God may not exist. That argument ain't as good as he may exist. You don't want to play with that. Not nearly as good as this argument. So that's what I'm saying to my 1%ers specifically, my billionaires, my trillionaires, those who are sons and daughters of trillionaires, inheriting money with a soft life. Maybe your daddy was a super rich dude. You got a soft life ahead of you. You don't see no path to anything less than wealth, and you don't know of anything to respect. Trust me. There is poverty out there. You may be exempt from it depending on how you're positioned on this earth. That does not mean that God won't look at you and say you have a responsibility to make life better for those who are suffering it, or to at least stand in solidarity for what it is that you will never experience. That thankfulness. I'm thankful that I've lived my whole life with all of my limbs. Do you think I haven't thought for 1 second about what it feels like to not have them? I've thought about it. And you should think about it too. That doesn't give you the right to just believe that everybody's entitled to having their limbs, or that these people who don't have limbs don't exist. So you get to walk around like everybody's got the privilege you have. You got to respect something that you do not respect in order to have the perspective that will allow you to understand, to be connected to the people that are out here. And the further away from understanding the people that are out here, the further away from understanding how elite you are. That's dangerous. That means you are surrounded by people who can relate to things that you cannot. That makes you in a dangerous position, whether you see it that way or not. You would need to isolate yourself from all people in order to put yourself in a position to be related to. That is dangerous in and of itself, and it isn't spoken of enough. If you don't respect poverty, you need to understand you're surrounded by it. If you're one of those billionaires that say, well, why don't that man out in the street just have a jacket? It's because he don't have the money to pay for it. That disconnects puts you in a position to not be able to have a real conversation with people if you need to. You're going to insult their sensibility by having that perspective. And that's going to put you in a position to have to deal with them if your security ain't around. And you don't know what the world's going to be, because it looks like this country's going to end up coming tumbling down. So all of y'all got $1 billion, this, that, and the third. You may not be able to get far enough away from what's about to be touched by this country. You may not be able to get far enough away from the realities of suffering. Just because it looks like you will in 2023, you can't see what's coming 5 years from now. You can't see what's coming 10 years from now. You got to be able to relate to something that you cannot see within your own lives. Unprecedented things can happen. We've already seen COVID. We've already seen genocide in our phones. Unprecedented things are possible, man. You can't just assume that just because you're comfortable at home that you're going to stay there. And that the world that you know and the world that you're comforted by is the same world that you're going to be in. You got to be able to relate to something that you cannot see in your own lives. So when I tell you not everybody has anything, not everybody knows we're going to sleep at night, not everybody has a meal. People right now are walking into the desert without their homes because other people are keeping it from them, and that it's not okay, and that they are human beings just like you. And if they were in your shoes and you were in their shoes, you would be appealing to their understanding of what it is that they don't respect, just like they would try to do with you. This is something that you need to understand. You are not a superhuman because you have money or because your grandpappy stole a bunch of land. You understand what I'm saying to you? You are not a superhuman. You're a flesh and bone and blood. And if people get their hands on you, they can beat you up just like you can beat them up. You can be slaughtered just like these people being slaughtered in their sleep. You can be bombed and blown up just like they can be bombed and blown up. All people got to do is get to you. You ain't safe just because you have the presence of money or the presence of privilege or the presence of your indifference in your head. If they get a hold of you, they can make you dead. And the only thing that'll save you from that is your understanding, is your gift of gab, is your ability to relate to them for what you feel you don't need. You need. And if you don't think you need, then friend, you're going to be wiped out by the weakness that you have within you that makes you feel that way when that day comes where you will. I don't need to think that way. I'm wealthy. I don't ever have to think that way. Fam, you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. You don't know what you're going to be forced into tomorrow. You don't know what could be coming after you. Unprecedented things are possible. And if you ain't never heard of that, you better look up circumstances. You better fathom such circumstances before you wiped out by them, caught blindside by them. Just like I was caught blindside by this circumstance. I was sitting in my little apartment thinking I was going to have this, that, and the third. Thought everything could work out the way I wanted it to work out until it didn't no more. Till the walls closed in on me. Now I'm in unprecedented circumstances. Stronger for it. More relatable to those who have gone through more difficulties for it. But at the same time, having to go through hard times because ain't nothing good about this. And I could have maybe prevented it if I would have respected it a little more. I could have maybe did a little more if I had a little more information. Maybe the information I had wasn't no good. Maybe I should have been listening to somebody else instead of sitting in my little position thinking I had it all under control. These are the type of things that were protecting me from the circumstances I'm not enjoying right now. Now, what do you think you go through if you're one of them rich people who has it all together, who don't think you need to respect nothing, who don't think you need any information that would otherwise help you relate to people who don't have nothing, and you just look down upon everybody around you, and then your circumstances change? Or you just out somewhere one day and all of a sudden you can't get away from that. You go on vacation, all of a sudden a bunch of pirates take over your stuff. Anything can happen. And it's going to be your strength of understanding this perspective that's going to give you the resolve to be a human being instead of some entity that's above all everybody else. You ain't going to be above nobody. It's going to be your strength and belief in God that's going to get you through that. It's going to give you the resilience. It's your adherence to that fact that there was a God, or your ability to relate to somebody who had to experience that resilience in other areas that'll show you what resilience is inside of you. You ain't going to even know it's there because you've been too comfortable with all of the different things that you've enjoyed all this time. All the different things you took for granted all this time. That's the truth, friends. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. It's like, look, a lot of y'all don't have to ever deal with this. If I'm broadcasting in nothing but wealthy people, a lot of y'all may not ever have to deal with this, but there will be a few of you who do. There will be a few of you who will be in circumstances where you will need to step out of your wealth. You won't have, your money won't be able to buy you what you need. The people that you count on to have everything for you ain't gonna be there. Everybody who's looking after you, that ultimately make sure you have what you have, your lawyers and different things that are supposed to be in place that you pay for, and you don't have the money to pay for those things, you gotta live without them. And then you're gonna understand why it was so important to listen to a man like me in a time like this. You're gonna understand just how fake a lot of what it is that you thought loved you actually was. Because it was only there because of the material you could provide through your money, not your love. And then you understand how important it is to relate to human beings, to respect certain things that you don't respect, or don't take things for granted, to at least check yourself to make sure you're not taking things for granted. Because that silver spoon will rust eventually. Maybe you weren't loved enough to be taught this, but that was love for which was depraved to you that they didn't teach you this. You need to learn how to survive without that money. You need to learn how to work on your own. You need to learn how to value certain things, how to touch the people in such a way that doesn't make them want to take everything you own. How do you do that? I have no idea, because a lot of people are going to take from you if they know you got a lot, no matter what the hell. But you need to know that your money can still be ripped away from you and never return, and you can still survive, because there are a lot of people out here doing that right now. They never been rich, ain't gonna be rich. They still survive. And you may have been raised by somebody who, if they lose $70 million, they're going to jump to their doom and die. But that's not within you. And it would not have been what is in them if had they been taught how to love and how to have resilience and how to respect poverty and how not to allow poverty to even be around them by way of what it is they can control and to use their voice for real things. Use their voice for real things. Use their wealth for real things that actually help people who are in them circumstances. You'll be respected more. You'll be honored more. You ever heard of Mother Teresa? She was wealthy. She was born rich. Woman was born rich. She wasn't broke by any stretch of the imagination when she was put into this world. She came from a very wealthy family. Silver spoon. Platinum spoon. One of the most honored women in my lifetime. Because she didn't let that money pull her away from her purpose in God. And you best believe that she went down with a great reputation on this earth. So that's what I'm telling y'all, man. This is for all the rich people. This is for all the wealthy. And that's what this conversation for. If you don't have nothing, you can relate to this to some degree. But this is for people who got a lot, who've been given a lot, who was handed a lot from generations on generations in. The reason why a lot of the evil happens to people is because people like you didn't give a damn, man. The reason why people suffer so much, what you see in your phone is happening in Palestine, is because a lot of people like you didn't give a damn, man, throughout the course of time, and they let stuff happen. It should not have happened. They went along with stuff because they benefited from it, and they loved their lifestyle more than they loved their fellow man. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. Luxury is great, but there's a greater luxury in heaven, man, and you're going to deprave yourself from it by being indifferent. And there's a lot of people who don't believe in nothing like that, and unfortunately, they're going to suffer with you. There's no way around it. You're going to be right next to them, mistaken in the afterlife, burning at the stake for what you allowed to happen to your fellow man. You don't have to go that route because you've heard of this. Maybe your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your dad, maybe they never heard this conversation, but now you have, friend. Now you have. You got a choice. You can start seeking out ways of understanding things that maybe you were not forced to, so that you can be a better human being on the inside. That is what your responsibility is when you've been given a lot. I ain't saying giving away everything you've gotten. I'm just saying use what you can to be better. Take what you've been given to be better. Where much is given, much is expected, and much can be taken away. That's wisdom, friends. It's wisdom to live by. It'll keep you alive whether you have a lot or don't. Feed the wolves around you. Don't let people starve around you while you're eating. They will want to come take from you what you have, and they will do weird things to you because of it. Be gracious in your actions. Be gracious in your nature. Love somebody. Pray for somebody. Ask for forgiveness for when you didn't do what you should have. These are things that'll make you better on the inside. That stuff matters. Substance is not found in wealth or money or, material. That substance is found when you do the work on your inside and your spiritual. And that's what people will most respect, man. Whether you have a lot, lose a lot, gain a lot, people will respect that. And that respect will keep you protected, real protection. Strangers who may not know you that well, who aren't paid to protect you, they will protect you when they don't have to, bro. They will trust you to protect them. That's how you survive out here. And so teach your kids this. If you happen to be a day away from being a billionaire, make sure your kids have this substance in their heart, man. Do not let them grow up without it. They will suffer. Either they will suffer or they will cause great suffering and will deserve suffering. Either way, they'll suffer. It's not how that has to go going forward. We know better now. We've seen too much life behind us, too much history behind us for us to continue to make the same mistakes, continue to fall victim to the same playbook. It's being used against our people by the way of the evil that's out there. We don't need to do that. This ain't the 1700s. We know how certain things play out. We know what real respect is. We know what real evil is. We're seeing it in our phones in 2023. We do not have to keep making the same mistakes as if we haven't learned them already. Provide substance to your children. If you're going to give them a silver spoon, give them substance to go with it. If you're going to hand them material, make sure they have the spiritual. Do not just give them wealth. It would be a grave mistake that you pay for as a parent. God will look at all the good you did and then realize you left bad people here. And he'll charge you for it. I hope I'm helping somebody, man. I don't know what's written in my story to gain great wealth. I don't know. I don't know. I'm asking for wealth for people, but I ain't never really wanted it that bad. I mean, I like to be able to buy stuff, but when I come from a space where I never really bought anything ever before, it's not like I miss going shopping in certain ways. I never had it. I certainly don't want it to make me a worse human being. I certainly don't want that wealth and that soft life to make me somebody who only wants money from others. I don't look at people and see money, just like I don't look at people and see color. And I think that that's a superpower in a world where money is running everything. It gives me the ability and the strength to speak my mind freely without the fear of losing money or the path of not getting it being in my place. I don't care for it, so it can't get in my way. That's a strength. A lot of y'all are bound by that money. Y'all bound behind those who have it. You think if you lose it, you lost your life. It's not true. You think you lose it, you lost your mind. That don't have to be true. You can gain a great deal from not having that anything binding your mind and your spirit. That freedom is worth it. It's worth paying for. When you look at it like that, and the freedom to be able to speak up on real shit. You know how many people want to speak up on real stuff right now? What's going on in the world, but they're afraid because they're bound behind the training that money's supposed to be what keeps you next to responsibility. Responsibility is found when you give forth substance to God. He'll show you what you need to do. What you need to do is adhere to him. The world will tell you got to pay attention to the math in the world, but the world don't know of the math that's coming tomorrow. Science is still evolving. That's what you need to understand. Yeah, I got to pay my bills. Yeah, but you don't know where that's going to come from. You might find a bag of money in the street if you were poor. You don't know. Adhere to what the Lord is telling you to do. And you're going to know that by the substance that's been given to you. And if you aren't given that substance, that's what I'm trying to appeal to those who can give it to you. If they don't have it, they need to find it. Substance. If we look for that as hard as we look for money, we'll survive a lot of the stuff that we're otherwise not supposed to. We'll defeat the evil that otherwise is in place to make us ultimately fall a victim to whatever it is he wants to do to us. This is the type of stuff that you can overcome. You can overcome this with your freedom, with your lack of love for material, and you'll gain love for your own liberation of your spirit and mouth. Say what you want to say because you're in a position to do so. And anybody that tells you they're not in a position for you, they're not going to allow you to be in that position, is afraid of what happens when you do so. That fear is what they're bound by. The same fear I'm telling you to defy. People are too afraid to do what's right. They're too afraid to put the money down and pick up their substance. Pick up their understanding. Pick up a thing that's going to allow them to survive, whether they have those funds or not. You give them good names, good last names with people, so people can have legends of them being great, like Mother Teresa. Money ain't gonna do that. It's never gonna do that. Not unless you do great things with it. So that's what I'm telling all y'all, man. Pick up the substance in your life, man. Believe in something greater than yourself and do something with that understanding that helps you relate to people who don't have nothing if you have a whole lot. That gets you far, man. That puts you in a position to have plenty of numbers in regards to your movement. There'll be people rooting for you to succeed because they know you're a good person, you're unselfish with what you have. They'll make sure you have it. They'll work to keep you having it. Without you having to put fear in their heart, without you having to hold something over their head, without you having to deteriorate the environments around them so that they'll be manipulated. You don't need to do none of that. You gain the respect and the love of the people. They will work hard to make sure you keep what you have, because they know you will keep them fed and keep them in a position to teach their kids the substance that they need to continue to move forward. People are afraid to be good people. The fear of what goes wrong when you don't be evil is what keeps evil going. It ain't nothing but fear. The same tactics you use and the same fervor you use in doing things the wrong way, you can do in doing the right way. I said the same thing about food about 6 months ago on this channel. The same way y'all be putting all your effort into seasoning up all these fatty foods that are meant to stop your heart, is the same way you could take those same healthy foods that you should be eating and pour all of your interest into trying to season those up to be just as good. You'll make those taste even better if you really want to. But because of the evil in place that makes you want to kill you, by way of what it is they say, propaganda and nonsense that they say you want, even though you know what it does, you still gonna have that little conundrum that makes you feel like bad is good as bad. If you get that out of your life by incorporating substance and doing away with the need for material, you'll find out you'll still be able to come back around on the back end and still get that same material. You get rich off love. Get rich off substance. Get rich off providing substance to the people around you. By way of your influence, you make even more money. That's what evil don't want you to know. And because everybody's afraid to do things that way, they ain't never gonna get it. But you can get wealth off to the same intensity off of goodness that you can get off of evil and manipulation and suffering. You can make more. That's what the Lord is helping me understand. You can make more. Off of genuine love and genuine support and genuine respect, and shunning nonsense that's meant to deteriorate the lives of others. You can make more money. People are just afraid to. People are too evil to. People want the chaos in place. They don't want that nice energy. They don't want that. Because that means they can't nestle in those places and do the evil they want to do in the dark. They have to be held accountable when goodness is surrounding the circumstance. They got to be held accountable for treating people poorly. They got to be held accountable for that weakness that's in them that makes them as evil as they are. They got to go find the strength in the substance that they don't want to find because it's too hard. But that's only in place because so many other people were just like them. It won't be like that if more people started adapting to the goodness I'm talking about. It won't be hard. That's the environment they didn't believe could get better by way of their influence. It didn't have to be like that at all. You put forth strength in God, and what you're perceiving is hard don't even have to be what it is no more. He changed your mind, make what you going through easier for you, and the strength that you need to apply that to new things will be in place as well. That's what you don't understand a lot of times when you're engaging in evil. Your perception of what happens if you don't is not the same perception you have if you apply that faith and then go through it. Suddenly what you consider sucking don't suck as bad. Suddenly what you consider frustrating ain't frustrating like that. That's the rabbit hole that comes from doing things the right way. It's finding out that your perception is only pointed in that way because of what it is that you're doing the wrong way. And not only does what you have to go through get to change, but so do you as you go through it. Change for the better. So that's what I have to say to all my 1%ers and those of you who are going to be getting silver spoons. Some of y'all may be very young. You may not understand what I'm saying. You think this is weird. Why is the Laker guy talking like this? But I'm telling you, man, this is why the Laker guy's talking like this. Because there's a lot of good that can come from this. And good is worth having. It should be wanted. About as bad as y'all want this, that, and the third. Money, substance, all this stuff. You should want to have the respect of people who see you as good people, man. That should be what you're trying to strive for even more than your dollars. So that's what I got to say. My name is BDF 44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.